Good afternoon. My name is John Waters. I'm very happy to be here again. I often find it interesting that when the enemies of the church want to attack the church, they almost always begin with attacking the beauty that the church generates in the world, and they demand that the church relinquish its so-called wealth and its riches, its property. That, as it were, the church beats its chalices into sausages. I come from a poor family in the west of Ireland, a small town, and we live, 6 of us, in 2 rooms. Very basic conditions: no electricity, no running water, linoleum on the floors. You know, as a child, I was embarrassed to bring my friends back to our house. But there was one other house that we could enter in the town without question and never be asked to leave. And that was St. Patrick's Church on Patrick Street. We could walk in there any time and kneel down or walk around, and nobody would ask, "Why are you here?" It was our house also. And this was the most beautiful building in the town. Most beautiful building in the town. And that's where we learned, that's where I first all intuited the greatness that I come from. A writer, an Irish writer called John McGarren, says, "The church was my first book. It was also my first book. It introduced me to the world, but also to what is beyond the world." And the church in Castlerea, in my hometown, was very ordinary compared to the Sagrada Familia, I can assure you. And yet, it had this capacity to do that. So, today is a great honor for me to be here and to try to facilitate and help in any way I can our great guest this afternoon, to lead us on this journey, to understand where we all came from and what it all means. The Sagrada Familia is really all our church. It is the greatest of our churches, you might say. The most beautiful, the most extraordinary. Created in the beginning, the idea of it, by the great genius Antoni Gaudí. Gaudí was, by all accounts, an extraordinary man. He was ill from birth, many, many physical illnesses. Could not walk or run or go to school. He walked 10 kilometers a day for many years to combat his illness. He had a painful and lonely life, right up to the end when he couldn't sleep horizontally in a bed. And instead of running as a child, he would look at things intently, at birds and the ivy and the trees and the flowers. And doing this allowed him to overcome the pain of his sickness. For me, he's a mythical figure, representing tradition, the being of tradition, the memory that we carry with us is somehow in its purest state in a mind like this. Pope Benedict XVI in Barcelona a few years ago gave a homily in the Sagrada Familia, and he said, "In the Sagrada Familia, Gaudí made stones, trees, and human life part of the church, so that all creation might come together in praise of God. But at the same time," said the Pope, "he brought the sacred images outside, so as to place before people the mystery of God revealed in the birth, passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. In this way, he had brilliantly helped to build our human consciousness, anchored in the world yet open to God, enlightened and sanctified by Christ. In this, he accomplished one of the most important tasks of our times, overcoming the division between human consciousness and Christian consciousness, between living in this temporal world and being open to eternal life, between the beauty of things and God as beauty." This really, when I saw the Sagrada Familia for the first time in reality, I looked up at it in the light, in the silhouette. It was like a mountain turning into a cathedral, or a cathedral turning into a mountain. I wasn't sure. It was pretty well advanced in the cathedral stage, I have to say. And this is really, for me, this place is almost on the frontier between two worlds in our imagination. The world of the sacred from which we come, in which everything was taken for granted. The meaning of reality was essentially sacred. There was no other meaning. Into a future which seems this is to be obliterated. And yet this is on the boundary. These two worlds, almost a reality turned inside out, but in a good way. So that we can stop again and understand something fundamental to ourselves. This is the great gift that Gaudí has given us. And it is a great gift which our guest today, Etsuro Sotoo, continues this amazing work to make this eternal totem of our self-understanding more and more clear to us, more and more visible, bringing out each detail so that we can comprehend ourselves in this world, in this reality. A friend of mine whom I see here, Donny McManus, said to me earlier, he's also a sculptor, like Etsuro, and he said to me today, you know that art is like a priesthood. The artist is a priest, and his sacrament is beauty. So I would like to introduce to you today our priest, our great artist, Etsuro Sotoo.
Muchas gracias por invitarme hoy.
Thank you very much for inviting me today.
John, hace tiempo que quería conocer personalmente.
I've wanted to know John for a long time.
Porque para mí es un señor misterio después de Gaudí.
He said, for me, he's the most mysterious man after Gaudí.
Bueno, como no puedo hablar inglés, pues necesito traductor.
So since I don't speak, he does speak English, but he says, since I don't speak English, I need a translator.
Por tanto, tiempo será mitad.
So my speech will be cut in half. It'll be half as long.
Pues, voy rápido.
So I'm going to go quickly.
Esto es la Barcelona que cuando llegué. Antes de llegar a Barcelona, yo pensaba que Barcelona era un pueblo de pescaderos.
So before I came to Barcelona, I thought it was just a fishing town.
Pero es grandísima.
but it's enormous.
belleza
It's beautiful.
y importancia, poco a poco después yo descubrí.
And after some time, I began to understand its importance and its beauty.
Antes de llegar a Barcelona, yo era, bueno, después de Universidad de Bellas Artes de Kioto,
Before coming to Barcelona, I studied at the Fine Arts University of Kyoto.
un año he trabajado como profesor de arte,
And I worked for 1 year as an art professor.
pero seguía picando piedra, luchando con mi profesor,
But I kept chiseling away and fighting with my professor.
único que tenía, yo a veces podía ganar la duración de picando piedra, 10 horas.
So I was the only person who could beat him chiseling for 10 hours straight.
Y cuidar, amar herramientas.
And to take care of and love the tools.
Único que tenía yo.
That's the only thing that I had that was special.
Quería probar en donde hay más cultura de piedra.
I wanted to go find and try out in that place, in the place where there was most sculpture, stone sculpture going on.
Encontré una montaña de piedra
And I found a mountain of stone
y se llama Sagrada Familia.
called the Sagrada Familia.
A mí confieso que no me importaba nada la templo Sagrada Familia ni Gaudí.
So I have to admit that I didn't care about the Sagrada Familia as a church nor about Gaudí.
Único importaba es quería picar piedra.
The only thing I wanted to do was to chisel.
Hoy, después de 40 años,
Today, after 40 years,
esta inexplicable se llama providencia.
so now that inexplicable thing, I give a name to it, providence.
Usted ha visto ahora video.
You just saw the video.
He terminado año 2015, unas puertas que faltaba fachada nacimiento.
So I finished in the year 2015 the gates, the doors that were missing from the facade of the Nativity.
Hace 40 años ni imaginaba.
40 years ago, I couldn't have even imagined this.
Todo proceso es alguien, Espíritu Santo o alguien que me ha traducido hoy.
So all this process is someone, you could call it the Holy Spirit, who brought me here.
Esto, lo último que voy a hablar de gran proyecto, también relacionado con este Espíritu Santo.
So this is the last I'm going to speak of this great project in relation to the Holy Spirit.
Hoy, Sagrada Familia, tenemos techos.
So today we have roofs on the Sagrada Familia.
Antes no había sitio para esconder cuando llueve.
So before there was no place to hide when it rained.
Y con este maravilloso techos,
With these beautiful ceilings, these roofs that we have.
pero antes era así.
But this is what it was like before.
Soy yo que trabajando.
That's me working there.
¿Quién? The other. Es otro también, aquí estoy.
That's me there too.
No hay nada cinturón de seguridad,
I don't have any safety belts on, safety harness.
seguridad social tampoco.
I had no health insurance either,
Pero era libre,
but I was free
porque cada uno tiene que cuidar su cuerpo.
because each of us has to take care of his own body.
Yo disfruté.
I loved it.
Empecé a rezar la budista, católico, protestante, Alá, todo religión.
I used to pray in every single religion possible
Porque 60 metros de altura nadie me salva.
because when you're 60 meters up, nobody's going to save you.
Esto es pero primero trabajo que me ha encargado.
This is the first work that they assigned to me.
Hace 40 años, templo, el escultor no pica piedra.
The sculptor 40 years ago didn't chisel.
Gracias a no hablaba nada de castellano ni catalán,
Thanks to the fact that I didn't speak any Spanish or any Catalan,
me ha contratado como escultor.
they hired me as a sculptor.
pero simplemente yo quería picar piedra.
because the only thing I wanted to do was to chisel.
Pues discípulo de Gaudí, pensando, ¿qué hago este chico?
So this disciple of Gaudí is thinking to himself, what do I do with this kid?
Escultor quiere picar piedra.
A sculptor who wants to chisel.
Pues tú cárgate todo.
So you take charge of all the chiseling.
Esto es 22 metros y 5 metros,
This is 22 meters by 5 meters.
gran bloques de piedra que
Huge
tenía,
blocks.
yo he picado solo.
I had to chisel those huge blocks of stone by myself.
Esto es el primer trabajo.
That was my first job.
Era durísimo,
It was very hard
porque piedra y herramienta, todo diferente.
because the stone and the tools and everything else was different for me.
Por esto no me importaba subir cinturón, nada de seguridad.
So for that reason, I didn't care about climbing up 60 meters without a safety harness.
Pues gracias a este vino siguiente trabajo.
Because thanks to that, the next job came along.
La 1936, guerra civil,
In 1936, the Civil War,
era el único interior que Gaudí terminado.
the only thing that Gaudí had finished
Era prueba o muestra de futuro del templo.
was a sign or an example of what the future of the church could be.
Como único interior, pues allí guardó, para guerra, preparando, que guardó plano de Gaudí, joyas, todo el templo.
So during the war, in order to safeguard all these, they safeguarded all these things, jewels, etc., including the plans of Gaudí.
Pero como guerra, descubrió y destrozaron todo.
As since it was a war, in the war they discovered it and they destroyed everything.
Quien cargó de guardar todo el plano de Gaudí, que quemó, es discípulo de Gaudí.
So the one who decided to try and safeguard all of the Gaudí's plans that were burned was Gaudí's disciple.
Él, con cara de tristeza,
And with a very sad face,
no puede recuperar plano de Gaudí original.
they couldn't find Gaudí's original plans.
Pero antes de morir,
But before dying,
su responsablemente que hay que restaurar como antes.
he said we need to restore everything as it was before.
Pues me han cargado.
And he gave me that responsibility.
En aquella época no había turistas,
There were no tourists at that time,
por tanto no había dinero.
so there was no money.
Y este discípulo de Gaudí, muy buen hombre,
And this disciple of Gaudí is a really good man,
un poco duro,
a tough guy,
porque me obligó a trabajar 2 años por nómina de 2 meses.
so who forced me to work for 2 years for a salary of 2 months.
No obligó,
Well, he didn't force me.
mi voluntad.
It was my will. I wanted to do it.
Porque cada vez trabajando, restaurando,
Because as I went along working and restoring things,
descubrí la importancia.
I was discovering the importance of this.
Esto es el testamento de Gaudí,
This is the testament of Gaudí,
porque único interior, no solo único interior del templo que Gaudí terminado,
it's not only the only interior work in the church that Gaudí finished.
aquí, perdón. Otro nombre es la tentación.
Another name for it is the temptation.
La tentación de dinero y tentación de poder.
Temptation of money and temptation of power.
Gaudí deseaba que este templo, que si caemos tentación, no será templo.
Gaudí wished that if we fall into temptation, this won't be a church.
Pues para mí es el segundo trabajo, pero para mí es el mejor estudio, mejor trabajo que he hecho para templo.
So this is my second job, but for me it was the greatest and most important study and work that I did in the church.
No solamente he trabajado gratis,
Not only did I work for free,
porque cada vez más valor tendrá.
because I wasn't working really for free, because this thing would have greater and greater value as time went on.
Porque verdadero deseo está aquí, de Gaudí.
Because the true desire of Gaudí is there.
Y después me encargó de acabar los 15 ángeles de los la fachada nacimiento.
So then they asked me to finish the 15 angels of the facade of the birth, of the nativity.
Eso es la 3 metros de altura, arpa.
¿Puede repetir?
Escultura de 3 metros.
Okay, so this is a
Ángel de
3-meter
arpa.
high sculpture of an angel.
La gente no se da cuenta de que aquí no tiene cuerda.
So people don't realize that this guy doesn't have a body.
Y siempre hay enfrentamiento con arquitectos.
So we always have arguments between architects.
Unos dicen que hay que poner cuerda todo de arpa. Cuerda de arpa.
Sorry, harp strings, yeah. So, sorry, the harp doesn't have strings, and he says we always are arguing back and forth, the architects, whether to put strings on the harp.
Hay arquitectos que dicen que mitad, half,
Some say you can just put half,
y otro muy poco.
and some say no, just a few.
Mi opinión es que no hay que colocar la cuerda,
And my opinion is that you don't have to put any strings,
porque la cuerda de escultura tiene que ser un tubo de metal gordo,
because in order to do a sculpture of strings, you have to do a thick metal tube,
porque los pájaros y todo esto,
because birds
problemas, ¿no?
will create problems.
Y hay otra razón,
And there's
que
another reason.
la escultura, ¿quién termina?
So who finishes the sculpture?
Pintura, ¿quién termina?
Who finishes the painting?
La novela, ¿quién termina?
Who finishes a novel?
Ninguno, pintor, escultor, ni escritor.
Neither the sculptor, nor the author, nor the painter finish.
¿Quién termina? ¿Quién sabe observar? ¿Quién sabe disfrutar de estas obras?
The one who finishes it is the one who knows how to observe and to enjoy these works.
¿Quién termina? Es ustedes.
You are the ones who finish the work.
Por tanto,
So
somos nosotros artistas,
so we artists,
intentamos hacer arte
we try and create art
que viva.
that is alive.
Viva significa que cada persona de millones de personas, cada uno coja sus frutos.
So to be alive means that each and every person of the millions that will come in contact with it gather its fruit.
Esto significa obra de arte viva.
That's what it means to have a live work of art, a living work of art.
No porque obra de arte la hace siglos que está escrito, por eso la obra de arte,
It's not a work of art because it was done centuries ago,
sino siempre fresco, siempre vivo.
but because it's something that's always fresh, always alive.
Porque cada uno de nosotros podemos coger sus frutos.
Because each and every one of us can take its fruit, can gather its fruit.
Eso es lo que quería expresar.
That's what I wanted to express.
Por eso no he puesto cuerda. Ustedes que pongan.
So you guys that's why I didn't want to put the harp chords, you put them.
Pero no suba allí.
But don't go up there.
Y así terminada fachada.
So that's how the facade was finished. I finished it.
Y otra restauración de guerra, bombas
Here's
que
another restoration
destrozaron.
after wars and bombs that destroyed it.
Y cada trabajo he descubierto muchísimas cosas, muchísima importancia.
In each job, I discovered so many things of such great importance.
No puedo explicar todo,
I can't explain everything.
pero este rosario
But
es especialmente,
This rosary, and especially this rosary,
se llama Trisaccio,
is called the Trisagion.
que normalmente el rosario tiene 10 granos,
Because normally a rosary has 10 beads.
pero lo que estudiando, profundizando, no encontraba por datos 10 granos, sino 9.
But the more I studied about the rosary, all I could find were not 10 beads, but 9.
He descubierto de que este rosario Trisaccio, Trinidad, 9 granos, que siempre llevaba Gaudí.
So but I understood that this was a rosary called the Trisagion Rosary, the Trinity that Gaudí always carried with him,
Etcétera, etcétera.
etc., etc.
Y estos son los frutos
And these are the fruit.
Aquí hay razón de que un japonés tenía que estar Sagrada Familia.
So now this is how we're going to understand why it had to be a Japanese man to be at Sagrada Familia.
Nadie sabía por qué tantas frutas tiene que colocar arriba.
Nobody understood why Gaudí wanted to put so many fruit up at the top of the...
He preguntado a todo el mundo.
I asked everyone.
Y tenía miedo de que colocar color de mosaico veneciano, de cristal, frutas.
And I was...
Tenía miedo de
So I was
colorear.
afraid of putting up Venetian mosaic glass to color these fruit up there.
Pero según mi teoría, tiene que ser coloreado.
But according to my theory, they had to be colored.
Porque estas frutas maduras
Because these are ripe fruit
significan nuestra alma.
that represent our soul.
Nuestra vida, tiempo y espacio, para madurar nuestras almas.
So our life, time and space is in order to ripen our souls.
Pero todo mundo tenemos tiempo limitado.
But we all have limited time.
Cuando nos llama, hay que ofrecer nuestra alma madura y fresca hacia el cielo.
So when we're called, we have to offer our mature and fresh souls to heaven.
Punto de quería ganas de comer.
So it's something that, fruit that wants to make you eat it.
Esto es lo que tenía que expresar. Por esto he puesto color.
That's what I wanted to express. So that's why I colored them.
Pasa que hace medio siglos nadie ha puesto color en templo.
So, but the point was that for over 50 years, nobody had put any color on the church.
Tenía miedo, pero gracias a este color, la Sagrada Familia aumentó visitas los jóvenes.
So I was afraid of this, but thanks to this color, the visits by young people grew.
Y abajo hay muchas hojas.
And down below, there are a lot of leaves.
Tampoco nadie sabía por qué hay que colocar tantas hojas.
And nobody knew also why did you need to put so many leaves down there.
Estas hojas están cayendo,
These leaves are falling
porque cuando madura frutas, hojas se caen.
because when the fruit ripens, the leaves fall.
Buena observación de naturaleza de Gaudí.
So this was Gaudí observing nature.
Pero tiene que tener algo más sentido.
But there had to be some other meaning behind that.
Y estas frutas, y abajo de frutas hay muchas hojas caídas.
And so you see below the fruit here, there are many, many fallen leaves.
Ay. Significa, primero, principio es verbo, ya ustedes saben.
So you know the phrase at the beginning was the word.
En Japón, verbo, escribimos signos, dos signos.
In Japanese, we write the word with two kanji signs.
Decir hojas.
Speak leaves.
Esto significa palabra.
That's what words is in Japanese.
Nosotros aprendemos de naturaleza también.
We also learn from nature.
Por tanto, para que la gente que crezca, la gente que madure, necesita muchas hojas. Eso lo sabemos.
So in order for people to grow and to mature, they need a lot of leaves. We know this.
Como igual que naturaleza, frutas.
Just like fruit in nature.
Frutas necesitan muchas hojas frescas.
Fruit needs many, many fresh leaves.
Necesita la fuerza del sol.
It needs the force of the sun.
Convierte energía a madura.
That becomes energy and ripens the fruit.
Igual que nosotros, palabras vivas, palabras frescas que tienen sentido de buen, no maldad, sino de sentido de cielo.
So the same with us. Words that are fresh, that are alive, that have truth, that have meaning, not that are meaning from heaven.
Esta palabra tiene energía para crecer nuestra alma.
These words have the energy to make our soul grow.
Por esto, este sentido de Gaudí, seguramente que Gaudí no ha aprendido idioma japonés.
I'm sure that Gaudí never learned Japanese.
Pero origen de naturaleza, lo mismo.
But the origin in nature is the same.
Resultado puede estar igual.
And if the origin is the same, the outcome can be the same.
Okay. sorry. Últimas 2 décadas,
In the last 2 decades,
mi trabajo es ya agotado datos de Gaudí.
we've run out of Gaudí's instructions.
Por tanto, tenía que inventar o hacer como lo que hacía Gaudí.
So therefore, I'd have to invent, so to speak, or think about what Gaudí would have done.
Aquel momento para mí era infierno,
For me, it was hell, that moment.
porque aunque sea pequeños trozos de Gaudí, yo podía aumentar como cerámica de griegos.
So even if I had a little piece of Gaudí, I could expand it.
Pero sin nada
But without anything,
no puedo hacer nada. Aquel momento es crítico.
I couldn't do anything. And that moment was a critical moment for me.
Gaudí no me ayuda.
Gaudí didn't help me.
Gaudí mirando otro sitio.
Gaudí's looking at something else.
Pues preparé a volver a Japón.
So I got ready to return to Japan.
Era infierno, pero aquel momento, mire, Gaudí no está mirando a mí. Entonces, ¿dónde está mirando?
So in that moment, that was a hellish moment. But in that moment, I thought to myself, Gaudí's not looking at me. What is he looking at?
Intentaré ver dónde miraba Gaudí.
I will try and look where Gaudí is looking.
Para ver misma dirección que otra persona, tiene que estar su sitio.
So in order to see where another person is looking, you need to stand in his place.
¿Dónde estaba?
Where was he?
Sitio de igual que ustedes.
The same place as you,
Mirando a Jesús,
looking at Jesus,
gran maestro.
the great master.
Pues yo dejé de mirar Gaudí, intenté mirar dónde miraba Gaudí.
So I stopped looking at Gaudí in order to look at where Gaudí was looking.
Este momento, sin querer, sin esperar, Gaudí entró a mí, yo me siento dentro de Gaudí.
So in that moment, without expecting it, without planning it, I felt as if Gaudí entered me and I began to look where Gaudí was looking.
Desde este momento perdí miedo.
From that moment on, I lost all fear.
Hoy estoy diciendo, jóvenes, yo soy más veterano, más viejo de toda la Sagrada Familia.
So today, and I say to the young people, and I'm the veteran, the most experienced older person of the team at Sagrada Familia.
Estoy diciendo que no tenga miedo, que siempre, aunque no hay datos, conseguiremos la idea de Gaudí.
So I said, don't be afraid. Even if we don't have the data, the information, we will always find the intention of Gaudí.
Dejar de mirar dónde miraba Gaudí.
By looking at where Gaudí is looking.
Por esto, desde este momento, yo hice un montón de cosas.
From that point on, I've done a ton of things.
Por ejemplo, gárgola de San Juan. San Juan.
Yeah, this
Cuatro
is
evangelistas.
St. John's scroll.
La gárgola hay que coger el agua de fluviar para sacar.
So you have to take the water, for this valve here, this gutter, you have to take the water that comes down from the rain and take it out for the church.
No puedo escribir a San Juan que trasero entra agua y boca sale agua.
I can't I can't make St. John with water entering in through his rear and coming out his mouth.
Tengo que inventar algo.
I have to invent something else.
Pues primero de San Juan es 7 libros, mandar a 7 iglesias.
So before St. John, there was the 7 books sent to the 7 churches.
Una condición, ser escultor de la Sagrada Familia nunca debe olvidar corazón de niño.
So one condition for being the sculptor of the Sagrada Familia is to never forget the heart, your childlike heart.
Como Gaudí hizo.
Like Gaudí himself, have you seen?
Niño pensaría, 7 libros, ¿cómo será forma?
A child would think, so what would these 7 books look like?
7 libros, no.
No, they wouldn't be a
2000
pile.
años es rollo,
They would be
pergamino.
scrolls.
Pues 7 libros, medio abierto, coge agua, último séptimo, es la sale agua.
So the 6 of the books would be 6 of the scrolls would be half open, and the 7th would be rolled up where the water comes out.
etcétera, etcétera. Este es San Mateo, recaudador de dinero.
So this is Saint Matthew, tax collector.
Mira, cuando crucé, Jesús, a partir de ahora, coge arma, si no, ahora, deja el dinero y coge la arma.
And Jesus said to him, from here on, you're going to stop collecting taxes and you're going to collect souls.
Quien tenía que cuidar dinero y dejar dinero es la bolsa rota.
¿Otra vez?
Quien tiene que cuidar dinero,
The person who had to take care of the money,
pero dejar de cuidar,
but who is not taking care of it at the same time,
bolsa rota,
has his
broken.
bag that's torn,
Por esto,
his
aquí
purse that's torn.
la coge agua y sale agua con monedas.
So you see that water comes in this way and it comes out with coins.
Y ahora esto es bueno para control de agua, pues.
And that tube is there to control the water flow.
Etcétera, etcétera.
So on and so on.
Esto es San Lucas,
This is St. Luke,
que viajaba herramientas y pinceles y todo esto.
who has all his tools and paint brushes, etc.
Como ha visto, ve que hay escalera del centro, la gente que
see.
tiene que subir.
See, there's a little step ladder for people to go up.
Pues esta herramienta desvía ambos lados aguas.
So this tool allows the water to go on each side of the stairs.
Es San Mateo, San Marco,
St. Mark.
sábana borado,
So it's a golden sheet,
etcétera, etcétera.
so
Que
on and so forth.
Hoy no quería presentar ni quiero vender mis obras.
So today I didn't come here to sell my works.
Quiero explicar que todo esto
I wanted to explain that all of this
yo hice no porque tenía que hacer por datos,
that I made it not because I had to do it because of instructions that were there,
simplemente cómo tenía que hacer,
but I did it the way I had to do it,
como Dios manda.
the way that God ordained.
Aunque antes no existía,
Even though it didn't exist beforehand,
podemos encontrar respuesta como Dios manda.
we can find the answer of what God wants.
Esto es mi trabajo.
This is my work.
Por ejemplo, esto es la puerta que ha visto interior.
So you can see this is the interior door, the interior of the door that you've seen.
Exterior hay muchos pájaros,
On the outside there are
piedras,
there are
esculturas.
a lot of stone birds on the outside.
Gaudí ha puesto muchísimos. Pues,
Gaudí put many of them there.
cuando cierra la puerta, ¿qué será?
So when you close the door, what is it?
Tiene que oír el canto de pájaros.
You have to hear the birds singing.
Pues estos la oro
So these pieces
de
of gold,
hojas
these gold leaves,
es la partitura de canción del hogar de Cataluña.
so these are the musical notes of the Catalonian national song,
Se llama el canto de José.
Canto de Song of Jose.
Yo no voy a cantar
I'm not going to sing it for you,
para no estropear después de comer. Pero si quien lo sabe puede cantar con estas partituras.
so whoever knows that song can sing it by reading the notes there.
Esto es la puerta de esperanza.
This is the door of hope.
Arriba hay la huida de Egipto,
Above it, there's the flight of.
y arriba hay muchas plantas de Nilo de Egipto.
Oh yeah, this is the flight of the Holy Family into Egypt, and so there are many plants from Egypt there above.
Pues he puesto las plantas de Cataluña, que es alrededor de ríos secos, pero se llama cañas.
So I put a special plant that's from Catalunya that's very dry and it's called cangas.
Cañas.
Canga.
Y también lirios.
And lilies.
Y interior es la hoja convierte pez.
And on the inside, you see that these leaves turn into fish.
¿Por qué?
Why?
Antes de marchar, huida de Egipto, medianoche el ángel despertó, ángel, huíete, si no tu hijo matará.
So the night before the Holy Family fled to Egypt, the angel awoke Saint Joseph and said, "You have to flee to Egypt, or otherwise your son will be killed."
Hay muchos padres que pensarán, medianoche, no tener dinero, ni coche, ni nada de ayuda, tiene que cruzar desiertos.
So there are many fathers who would think, "Wow, I don't have a car, I don't have a way to get there. It's midnight, I don't have money, I have to cross the desert."
¿Qué pensará? Necesita mucha valentía.
What would they think? They would need much courage.
Para nazcar la valentía necesitamos esperanza.
In order for courage to come about, we need hope.
Pues San José, imaginando la mar de Egipto,
So Saint Joseph, imagining the Red Sea of Egypt,
allí llegamos salvados.
he thinks to himself, we will be safe when we get there.
Pero él no sabía verdadera esperanza.
But he didn't know that for certain, so it was a true hope.
Salvar un niño, Jesús, después ha nacido muchísimos cristianos.
By saving that one child, Jesus, many Christians were later born.
Está lleno de mar de Egipto.
It's full of the Red Sea.
Esto es lo que quería expresar.
This is what I wanted to express.
Aunque un hombre pobre que necesita de tener una pequeña esperanza,
Even a poor man who needs just to have a slight hope
puede convertir gran esperanza de toda la humanidad.
can become the great hope of all of humanity.
Esto es la puerta de fe.
This is the door of hope, of faith.
Quien tiene fe es quien tiene jardín de flor en dentro del corazón.
Whoever has faith is the one who has a garden full of flowers within his heart.
Y ese interior
And this is the inside.
la invita a la puerta de Rosé
It invites you to the door of
Y-
St. Joseph.
Sí, yo lo que he hecho. Y simboliza es pureza de Virgen María.
And it symbolizes and expresses the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Así terminado. Y ahora vamos a viajar un poco de Italia.
So I've finished here, and we're gonna take a short trip to Italy,
Firenze.
to Florence.
El Duomo de Florencia también, de las 7 siglos inacabadas.
So the Cathedral of Florence also was unfinished for 7 centuries.
Hubo muchísimos concursos.
There were many competitions.
Final me he encargado de ambone de este altar de Duomo de Firenze.
So in the end, I won the job of creating the ambo for the altar, the high altar in the Florence
Bueno,
Cathedral.
algunos de ustedes conocen un poco de historia de aquella época.
So some of you probably know the history of that time period.
Brunelleschi y todo esto había enfrentamientos.
So Brunelleschi and all these,
Ghiberti y todo esto.
they had great conflicts,
Todavía vive en Italia.
and that conflict still lives in Italy.
Pero al final he conseguido.
But in the end, it was myself who achieved it.
Quería explicar.
I want to explain.
Papa inauguró,
So Pope Francis inaugurated the ambo.
pero para mí este momento es más acontecimiento grande.
For me, this moment was the greatest event.
Aparte de Papa, habló
Apart from the fact that the Pope spoke,
una hora hablando Papa, alguien, sacerdote, ha puesto vaso de agua.
after the Pope had been speaking for an hour, a priest went and put a glass of water next to him.
Vaso de agua. Este es el ambone, es el nuevo. Hace poco que ha terminado.
So this ambo, this lectern here, had been very recently finished.
Pero este sacerdote ha puesto vaso de agua como siempre ha sido, siglos y siglos ha puesto, parece.
But this priest put a glass of water there so naturally as if he had been doing it, it had been done for centuries.
Y Papa también cogió como natural de bebé y ha puesto.
And the Pope also, he took the glass of water, drank it, and put it back in a completely natural way.
Parece que todos los papas ha sido hecho así.
It seems that all the popes had done that.
Pero es nuevo.
But it's brand new.
Esto es lo que yo quería hacer.
This is what I wanted to do.
Tenía que hacer como hubiera existido siempre.
It needed to be as if it had existed always.
Nosotros siempre buscamos, intentamos diferente que otro.
We are always trying to be different from the others.
Pero ahora, ya, hoy, no buscamos la diferencia.
But now, today, we no longer look for difference.
Hoy es la mañana de ayer.
Today is yesterday's morning.
Pero no seremos que será obligatorio, carcelado de ayer.
But we're not going to be imprisoned in yesterday.
Hoy es nuevo.
Today is new.
Cada día es legal.
Every day comes.
Cada día puede haber milagro.
Every day can have its own miracle.
Simplemente tenemos que buscar,
We simply have to seek,
encontrar
find
lo que Dios manda.
what God wishes, what God orders.
Nosotros intentamos y podemos conseguirlo.
We can try and we can achieve it.
Siempre yo digo a mis colegas de Sagrada Familia,
I always tell my colleagues at the Sagrada Familia,
no estamos haciendo obra de arte.
we're not doing a work of art. We're not creating a work of art.
Cuidado,
Be careful here.
si quieres hacer obra de arte,
If you want to make a work of art,
esconde algo dentro de tu corazón que no puedes decir.
hide something within your heart that you can't express.
Nosotros, la no obra de arte para venderlo, sino la encontrar la respuesta que tenía que haber.
So we don't create a work of art in order to sell something. We are looking for the answer that had to exist.
Por eso estoy muy contento con estos vasos como Papa.
That's why I'm so happy to see these glasses of the Pope.
Y esto es lo último,
This is the last slide.
que estoy proyectando una obra más grande de mi vida.
Now I'm planning the greatest work of my life.
Sagrada Familia tiene un poco prisa.
So there's a little bit we've got a little bit of a hurry in the Sagrada Familia. We're in a little bit of a rush.
Bueno, acompaño. Pero me ha encargado Torre de Jesús,
So I've been put in charge of creating the Jesus Tower,
torre más importante
the
del
most
templo.
important tower.
La 60 metros de altura, único espacio.
So it's one sole piece that's 60 meters high.
Tampoco hay datos.
And there are no instructions on this one either.
Pues simplemente la gente único de Torre de Jesús del mundo, la gente que entra a esta torre, sienten Jesús.
So this is going to be unique in the world, that the people who enter this tower will feel Jesus.
Normalmente iglesia, la mirando Jesús crucificado, allí está.
Usually when you enter a church, you see Jesus crucified, you say, there he is.
Pero quiero que convierte templo de Sagrada Familia, que sienten dentro del corazón de Jesús.
But I want the people that enter into the Sagrada Familia to perceive Jesus in their heart.
Yo no voy a explicar detalle, pero simplemente
I'm not going to explain the details here, but simply,
arriba, la color mayoría blanco, es la sabiduría de Dios, todo lo que tiene,
so
todo el mundo.
at the top, the white color is God's wisdom, everything that God has.
Pero desfortunadamente nosotros no entendemos ni un trozo,
But unfortunately, we can't even understand a tiny piece of it.
pues la Dios Padre mandó su Hijo a nuestro mundo, creando este mundo.
So God, the Father, sent His Son into this world and created this world.
Esto se llama firmamento.
This is called the firmament, the heavens.
Y octavo día se llevó su Hijo,
And the eighth day, He took His Son.
pues simplemente arriba, Padre, abajo escena de hijos de todos, Biblia.
So above, the Father, down below,
Y este
children.
parece láctea,
And this looks like the Milky Way, la Vía
es
Láctea.
el Espíritu Santo.
It's the Holy Spirit.
Padre, Hijo, Espíritu Santo.
Father,
Más
Son.
sencillo no existe.
Perdón?
Más sencillo no
Yeah.
existe.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. More simple than
Esto
this.
es el plano más base de esta torre.
This is the basic idea of this tower.
Es la maqueta de mitad,
Here's the model.
es uno de cristal,
That's one of the windows.
es modelo no virtual, sino real.
This is
De
a model, not a virtual one, but a real one, mock-up.
Espero que la gente sienten dentro de Jesús.
I hope that people feel that they're within Jesus, that Jesus is within them. Excuse me.
Bueno, ya, just.
Enough.
Em,
We just have a few minutes for a few questions for Etsuro. Etsuro, when you say that Sagrada Familia is not a work of art, I just want to be clear about what you mean, because Gaudí said something similar himself. He said, love of truth is above all any other love. Art is beauty. Beauty is the magnificence of the truth. Art doesn't exist, but rather love of the truth.
Y es el esplendor de la verdad.
Gaudí dice, sí, la belleza es esplendor de luz de la verdad.
Gaudí says that beauty is the splendor, the light of the truth.
La verdad, nosotros tenemos, todo el mundo sabemos qué es la verdad.
Do we all know what truth is? What the truth is?
Verdad y belleza es más allá de dentro de nuestro territorio, nuestra justicia, nuestra mano.
So truth and beauty are beyond our ken. It's outside of our hands, outside of our justice.
Yo, cada vez que voy a Japón, me pide la presidente de empresas, la gente me pregunta, ¿qué es la condición de ser mejor líder?
¿Mejor qué?
Líder, el presidente jefe.
Oh, yeah. So when I go to Japan, they always want, companies, etc., they want to ask me, what is the key to being a great leader, a great manager?
Mejor líder es quien sabe tomar la decisión de belleza.
The best leader is the one who knows how to make a decision for beauty.
No jefe que es no, este es la más gano, esto es la más, nosotros conseguimos poder.
Not the one who says, okay, we're gonna earn most money this way, or we're gonna achieve most power this way.
Difícil de tomar decisión, bello.
It's very difficult to make a beautiful decision.
Pero esto es la condición de ser jefe.
But that is the condition for being a leader.
La belleza es algo, cuando nacemos nosotros, nos han colocado dentro de nuestro profundo corazón.
Beauty is something that when we are born has already been placed within the depths of our heart.
Quien sabe llegar allí es líder.
The person who knows how to reach that point is a leader.
Si nosotros pensamos, esto es la belleza, este no, este sí.
If we go around saying this is beautiful, that isn't, this is beautiful, that isn't,
Como elegir teléfono,
like choosing a phone,
eso no es belleza.
that's not beauty.
Belleza más allá, territorio de arriba.
Beauty is something beyond. It's the territory of the above.
Simplemente nosotros tenemos que obedecer, buscar cuál es la verdadera deseo de Dios de belleza.
So we simply have to obey and seek what is the true desire of God for beauty.
¿Cuál camino es más bello?
What path is most beautiful?
Esto es camino de arte.
That's the path of art.
Yes, and really what we're talking about is a kind of a division that we can see clearly in our world now between this kind of art, which was about truth, and a new kind of art, which is not about truth because truth is not acknowledged.
Que reconoce la verdad y otro tipo de arte que no reconoce que existe la verdad.
Arte que no conoce.
An art that doesn't know. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and therefore is not art.
Y por lo tanto no es arte.
So what I'm saying is, yes, Gaudí was wrong. He was an artist, but what he was talking about was not art.
Gaudí sí fue artista, pero de lo que hablaba no era el arte.
This is the only art.
Este es el único arte.
Bueno, afortunadamente nosotros llegamos a este nivel de entender un poco de Gaudí.
Fortunately, we've only managed to reach a level where we understand very little of Gaudí, a little bit.
Pero todavía Gaudí desconocidos para nosotros.
But Gaudí remains unknown for us.
Hay India que cuento que es de tres ciegos que quería conocer elefante.
So there's a story of the three blind men who wanted to know what an elephant was.
Uno toca cora, que es el elefante es como serpiente, peludo.
One touches the trunk and says, oh, it's like a snake.
Pata, no, elefante es como un árbol.
One grabs his leg and says, oh, it's like a tree.
Y otro es un poco mojado, tocando la trompa, que es más seco de serpiente, pero parece serpiente.
Right, and touching the trunk of the...
Ninguno conoce
like,
elefante.
None of them know what the elephant is actually
Igual
like.
que Gaudí, que nosotros todavía no sabemos qué es el Gaudí.
And so it's like ourselves who we don't really know what Gaudí was like.
Por eso vale la pena estudiar Gaudí.
So for that reason, it's necessary to study Gaudí.
Y estoy convencido de que Gaudí nos llevará verdadera belleza, verdadera arte.
And I am convinced that Gaudí will bring us to true art, true beauty.
Este momento nosotros estaremos en futuro, de verdad.
And this moment will be for us in the future, and truly.
Por lo menos arte no es el objetivo de inversión.
At the very least, art is not an object of investment.
Si es inversión, es la inversión a nuestro corazón.
If there is an investment to be made, it's an investment in our heart.
Eso sí.
So in a sense, we all have it inside. It's all side. This is the purpose of art, to educate us about what is already there.
De alguna forma, la meta del arte es educarnos a lo que ya está dentro de nosotros.
Simplemente descubrirlo.
Simply discover it.
Hay que mirarlo.
We have to look at it.
No hace falta que en Japón la quería convertir occidental para competir, todo esto.
So, for example, in Japan, we wanted to become Westerners in order to compete.
Yo siempre digo, no hace falta que pegar la cultura de otros.
I always say that it's not necessary to plaster on somebody else's culture onto you.
Nosotros, de cada uno, no existía ni no existiremos nunca repetida de igual que ustedes.
There is no one who has ever existed or who will exist that is the same as you.
Esto es la riqueza que nos han regalado.
This is the wealth, the richness that has been given to us.
Pasa que cada uno de nosotros nadie sabemos quién soy.
The point, though, is that none of us knows who he is truly.
Si sabemos cada uno lo que tiene cada uno,
if we knew what each and every one of us has,
aunque tenemos límite,
even
diferente,
though we are limited,
si conocemos de verdad 100%,
if we really know 100%,
cada uno de nosotros somos más rico, más bello del mundo. No hay que competir.
Each and every one of us is the most beautiful, the most rich in the world. There's no reason to compete.
Hoy en día nosotros, como tan límite, que no podemos saber cosas sin comparar.
Today, we're so limited that we can't know anything without making comparisons.
¿Cuál madre es mejor que otro?
What mother is better than the other?
¿Cuál madre es la mejor del mundo?
Who is the best mother in the world?
O padre.
Or father?
Todos somos número uno.
We're all number one
Que si conoce bien de cada uno.
if we know ourselves truly well.
Esto es el legado y belleza que Dios que nos han colocado.
This is the patrimony that God and the beauty that God has put in our hearts.
Thank you. I think we're almost out of time. I just wanted to say at the end that you know, it seems to me central to what Don Giussani was talking about when he talked about education as being tradition and freedom, that tradition and freedom are equal qualities in this moment of creation that we are part of. And tradition needs to be tradition, not traditionalism, because the moment it becomes traditionalism, it hardens. And this, it seems to me, is the drama that Etsuro deals with every day in his work, and which, you know, he has found the unity that we seek for, that is talked about in the theme of this encounter, the unity of the person, which he has learned from his mentor, Gaudí, and which he has carried on to many people, and carries on to us today, and teaches us how to do this in our own lives, how to imagine ourselves in a way that is true to that beauty that is within, to find that, to know for sure that it is there. He has spent 40 years with the certainty that it is there. So it is there. And it is there for us also. This is important. And so each of us, in our way, we are part of this beauty and this process of generation. And so to finish, I would like to read a quote from Charles Pagay, who, it seems to me, says this for all of us, not so much as artists, but as people, as human beings, in the work we do, in the way we behave every day, in the way we engage with the world, in the same way as Etsuro chisels the stone. We chisel at our lives, we chisel at our relationships, we chisel at our, not violently of course, but we chisel at the world in order to make it reveal to us what is true and what we know intuitively. And we create that harmony, that chime that will happen. So this is Charles Pagay. To work is to pray. Once workers were not slaves, they worked. They nurtured an honor, absolutely, as befits an honor. The leg of a chair had to be well made. It was natural, understood. It was supremacy. It did not need to be well made in order to get paid or to be made in proportion to how much one was paid. It did not need to be well made for the owner, nor for the experts, nor for the owner's clients. It needed to be well made for itself, in its own way. A tradition that came from, went back to the depths of the human race, a history, an absolute, an honor required that the chair leg be well made. And every part of the chair that was not visible was made with the same perfection as the parts that were visible, according to the same principle as cathedrals. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Etsuro Sotoo for coming. Really, it's always a cliche of these moments to say, from his busy schedule, he has an extraordinary schedule. He has come hurriedly from Barcelona to be with us today. And we are thrilled beyond words. And also,